I can't see any of you guys right now. So before I get started, I'd just like to pose a little question to pretty much everyone in this room. How many of you at some point or the other in your life between the ages of 10 to 18 have wanted to do something really wacky, like color your hair green, or get a mohawk, or get a tattoo, or something equally stupid? I'm sure at least some of you have wanted to do that. And I'm sure all of you have wanted to do something which is out of the box, like something really, really weird and something which your parents would most definitely not approve of. Now, question number 2 is, how many of you guys have heard the phrase, "Log kya kahenge"? I'm sure everyone has heard this phrase at some point in their life, for sure. Another one is, "Log kya sochenge." So it's this fear of being judged, which is being drilled into every one of you at a really, really young age, because when you're young, the natural human instinct is to do stuff that doesn't have any rules, that isn't governed by rules, or isn't governed by, this is crossing the line. I mean, for example, running down the street naked. I'm sure all of us at some point in our lives have felt so ecstatic or so unhappy that we've just wanted to, like, you know what, to hell with it, I'm going to run down the street naked and celebrate. But our parents or uncles, aunties, especially those ones who sit at, tea time conversations making notes, you know what that guy did, you know what that guy did? He's crazy, dude, yeah. And of course, nowadays we've got Facebook, we've got Reddit, we've got the internet, and like everyone is talking about everyone all the time. So when all of this stuff is recorded in text format online, and the fear of seeing your name up there, you know what this guy did? And he failed. That fear makes us shove our ambitions way down. So those 3 words, "Log kya kahenge," "Log kya sochenge," have extinguished more dreams and more hopes than any other phrase in history, I would venture to say. On the back of this, I'd just like to give you an example about a friend of mine, his story. He's a musician who is currently a very, very popular name in the world of rock and roll. And how he started was that he used to jam with his computer, because he was in a situation where all he wanted to do was, write rock and roll songs. And he didn't have people to do it with. So what he decided was, I'm going to take my computer and I'm going to jam with my computer. And I'm going to make songs that way. Now, for people of you who are into rock and roll, obviously all of you know it's a somewhat masculine phenomenon, like leather and denim and studs and muscles and beer. And basically, jamming with your computer is considered a somewhat effeminate thing to do. So when this guy started jamming with his computer and basically recording his own ideas at home, putting them up online for free, people were like, yeah, that guy, wo jo apne computer pe gana record karta hai, basically considered a very, very wrong thing to do, because it was completely unconventional and it was completely against the traditional image that rock and roll music had, which is when you go out there, you jam in a band, you make some really loud noise, you play, lots and lots of shows, you get the attention of the industry that way. But today, this guy is touring with bands like the Deftones, with bands like Dream Theater, like he is known all over the world. Guy by the name of Misha Mansoor, who also goes by the online pseudonym of Bulb, very, very popular in the heavy metal world. And the question would be, how? How did this happen? How did he go from being a guy who plays with his computer in his bedroom with a little dorky kid to being up there on stage touring with the biggest names in the world? The answer is that in doing what he did, not only did he break conventions, he circumvented the entire industry itself, as it were. Because let's go back in time for a second to, say, pre-2000. Most of us, consume music in some form or the other. A lot of us are mid-20s, late 20s. And when we grew up, we used to listen to music on cassettes. We used to listen on CDs. We used to go to the local store, your Planet M's, Music World, see what you could get. Whatever was there was all that existed, right? So what happened pre-2000 was, the way the industry would function is that you used to do it the traditional way. You used to have a band, you used to make songs, you used to spend a fortune on going into a recording studio, cutting an album, spend another fortune on printing a whole bunch of CDs, spend a third fortune on getting those CDs into the Planet M's and Music Worlds, and then hoping that people are going to walk in and be interested. Of course, the chances of that happening are very slim, which is why most people failed. But post-internet, something called Napster happened. all of us know what Napster led to. It's currently led to things like iTunes, and about 75 to 85% of the world's music today is consumed digitally. You know, a couple of clicks, you've got it on your iPod, you've got it on your phone, and that's the way music is listened to these days. So what this guy did was, seeing that the internet had broken the industry, as it were, no one was buying CDs anymore, no one was buying cassettes anymore. Seeing that this is how things were going, it was inevitable that the internet would not just destroy the industry, the internet would become the industry. So what he did was, embracing the digital paradigm by working on the computer, which enabled him to record and produce his own music himself, put it up online for free because it cost nothing to produce, so he didn't need to sell it. Put it up online for free and kept putting it in people's faces, because as I'm sure a lot of us felt when we first discovered the internet, and with Napster and with YouTube especially, there's so much music out there in the world, right? Related videos, click, 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 click. Within a day you can discover some 40, 50 different artists that you absolutely love. So the choices are ridiculous. There's a huge number of choices out there. And with that comes this ADHD, which makes us lose our attention spans for, you know, a maximum of, say, 10 seconds. If an artist doesn't capture our attention within the first 10 seconds, we skip, we move on to the next track, we move on to the next band. Hey, I don't like this. Hey, you know what, this is cool. Okay, cool, bookmarked for later. So what you need to do to succeed in such a hardcore, cutthroat competitive environment is you need to be in people's faces. Not annoyingly, but you need to have enough content that you're always there and capturing attention. And if 1, 2, 3 pieces of work can capture people's attention, you can be rest assured that they will want to check out more and more. So what this guy did was, he would put up tracks for free. As of right now, I think that free site where he put up all of his stuff has about 150 tracks on there. And this way, by constantly putting up free music online, he made sure that people who were looking for free music, for example, youngsters who didn't have credit cards, who couldn't afford to, you know, swipe a card and go buy a digital copy of an album, he ensured that they had music to listen to for free legitimately. They didn't have to pirate it. And at the same time, he would interact with his fans online in the form of forums, in the form of Facebook. And this is all before everyone was doing it. Of course, that's what's happening nowadays. So not only did he circumvent the industry, he grew with the new wave of the industry, ensuring that when the internet became the new paradigm, he was very much at the forefront and that everyone was there, following his every move. So, which just goes to show that not only will the world adjust to you, which is the theme of today's topic, not only will the world adjust if you be yourself, it will open up new doors completely for yourself and for other people. And just to give you another example, I got completely and hugely inspired by this guy to do my thing. And in doing so, I stumbled across a very interesting phenomenon. You know, I have an engineering degree, as I'm sure do a lot of us over here, MBA students. So when I would listen to music, I discovered, you know, the way this guy was going about his composing, going about his self-production, doing everything on his own on the computer. I just had this thought. At the end of the day, what is a recorded piece of music? It's a mishmash of sine waves, it's a mishmash of square waves, basically waveforms all coming into our ears. What could happen if you had the power to manipulate those waves and just do crazy stuff with them? And this is where I stumbled across something really, really interesting. And I'll show it to you. Could you play the first one, please? How many of you all have heard that before? That's Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge theme. So if you treat this as just a bunch of sine waves hitting your ears, and you think, okay, within 2 steps, I want to manipulate this so that it sounds completely different. Can you play the second one, please? Would you believe that's actually the exact same piece, just reversed and with an echo on it? I did that in 30 seconds this morning, which just goes to show that not only will the world adjust to you being exactly who you want to be, it will open doors for other people For example, me being inspired by someone else to do things in a way that they would never imagine. That sounded like something out of, maybe something like one of those interstellar movie scores, like big, long, epic violins and stuff. And who knows, earlier what you would have had to do was chart out, sheet music, write down a score for an entire orchestra, go into the room, tell the orchestra, hey, violin guy, this is what I want you to do. Hey, the rest of them, this is how I want you to do it. Except now you can literally just take a simple piece from anywhere, twist it completely, and come up with something that you never expected before. So just goes to show that if you be yourself, the world will adjust to you, and it will adjust for other people who want to do things of their own, and it will open doors, windows for them, and so on and so forth, and make the world a better place. Thank you.